you adjusting to the adjuster role, so to speak? Is there not really much of an adjustment? Because you're more of an in-the-box safety last year. I know the adjuster was more of a free safety. Just how has that adjustment been for you, Ronnie?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, you play safety. You've been in that free position before. You've been in the boundary, so it's not like I haven't been there. It's just more so getting more familiar with it and really just getting comfortable in it. It is new, but I wouldn't say it's too much of adjusting going on.
I know there's a lot that goes into a Jim Knowles defense. How would you describe it? How would you kind of just put it in your own words? What a Jim Knowles defense is?
He wants to make it as simple as possible. Still, being able to offset the offense and combat what they want to do. But he wants us to be able to play fast. That's one of his biggest things. He wants us to play fast. And by doing that, you got to know the offense and you got to know what to look at. He wants us to look at the right things. And by doing that, it allows us to play faster and make plays. We're athletes at the end of the day, and he knows that. So he wants us to use our athletic ability to go make those plays.
Hey, Ronnie, thanks for coming here to Indy today.
Thank you.
All positive questions, just like the positive picture.
All right.
What's it like? You played on the other side of the ball in high school. You played lacrosse. How do some of those skills translate to you right now in college? Because obviously you kind of know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, being an athlete, as far as playing lacrosse and stuff like that, playing different sports only helps you. For me, lacrosse was, it was a lot of running. So I was able to get my conditioning up and stuff like that. And a lot of footwork is involved with lacrosse. So for me to be able to use that and then bring it into my football side has helped tremendously.
Last question. What is something you've seen this summer about yourself or some teammate that's kind of jumped out at you and said, man, we're ready for the season? Maybe even something on yourself and think, man, we're ready for the season to get started.
I would say just how much we're holding each other accountable. The best teams aren't coach-led, they're player-led. And so I think it starts from with us, with the leaders, and then it trickles down from there. But this season is the accountability level and stuff like that has probably been at an all-time high. So we're huge on that, and that's the football stuff will take care of itself. But it starts with stuff like that.
Ron, Coach Day keeps using the word edge. You guys had an edge during the offseason. How much of that was necessary? You guys took some heat last year for being getting pushed around a little bit. Did that get under your skin? Did that bother you? And is that part of what's going on with this offseason?
Of course, I'd be lying if I said it didn't get under our skin. We see the stuff that's been said. We see the articles and stuff like that. But, we can't dwell on the past. We know what mistakes we had. We know what we need to do to correct them, and that's what we've been working on all offseason.
How do you become tougher? Is it a mindset?
Put yourself in tough situations.
Like what? Do you have anything?
Coach Mick.
Ryan Day said he expects you guys to be a top 10 defense this year. Do you have that same expectation?
Yes, sir.
What makes you believe that's possible?
The guys in that locker room. One of the biggest things for me is I know the experience that we have. I know a lot of the times last year, this was the first, for me even, it was my first time out there. And for many of the other guys, it was the same kind of thing in their case. So as far as the D-line, the linebacker room, and even the secondary, we got more experience. We know what it's like to be out there. We know what it's loud and third downs and stuff like that. And that'll just help us.
How much do you think that your guys' youth last year did play into the struggles that you had?
It definitely played a role. I'm not making any excuses for it because it's not an excuse. But like I said, we can only use that to help us in the future.
Ronnie,
Getting Josh Walker back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
first of all, nobody's calling you Rocket. What's going on?
You're supposed to get him.
It's your job. What do you prefer, by the way, still?
Rocket for sure. But I go by both, but it doesn't matter.
Coach Day was talking about, he's harped on leadership all the time. You just kind of mentioned it. How much of that was just a function of how young you guys were last year and you were trying to find your way as individual players and maybe couldn't provide leadership because you were trying to figure it out yourself? I mean, where's the leadership now compared to then?
Yeah, that's a huge point. You know, it's hard to lead others when you're trying to get a grasp of things yourself because it's the first time for you. So that definitely has played a role into it. But like I said before, experience now, you know, guys know what it's like to be out there when it's bad. You know, when your own fans are booing you and stuff like that. Like that stuff sticks with you. So you know, you just use that. You use it to better yourself for the next situation you get in.
Michigan players were talking yesterday, that especially outside on alignment, but they talked about how they expected what happened in the trenches to have happened last year. How much does that, you know, again, you're not a lineman, but you part of that defense. How much does that bother you? How determined are you guys to show this year that's not going to happen?
I mean, what they expect is what they expect. Nothing towards that, but you know, we respect the rivalry. You know, so we put in the work every day regardless. You know, we have 3 goals. Let's beat the team up north being the first one. So we put in the work for that every day.
Getting Josh Proctor back, how much is that going to help you guys?
It's huge. Josh Parker's probably one of the hardest hitting safeties I've been around. So just having that mentality, like that edge that he brings to the defensive side is huge. I can't wait to see what he does.
You guys went from really young back there to really veteran in 1 year. You're now a fourth-year guy. You got Tanner coming in. He's a fifth-year guy. Josh is a fifth-year guy. You guys are really young guys. You guys are very veteran. Speak on that a little bit, if you would.
I touched on it earlier a little bit. Experience is huge. Knowing what to expect, knowing how it is, and what a thing is going to be like. We can watch film differently, because not only have we been in it, but we understand what's going on. And I think T-Mac, I call him T-Mac, it's Tanner McAllister, but T-Mac is doing a great job just helping us with stuff from Coach Knowles and explaining it from a player to player instead of from a coach to a player side.
We've asked you a lot about Coach Knowles. What about the two new DB coaches, Perry Eliano and Tim Walton? Give us some insights on those guys.
I love those guys, man. Those guys bring nothing but great energy, man. Those guys are always turned. Coach E, I'm more with Coach E specifically because he's a safety coach, but I love Coach E, man. He talks about the details a lot, unseen work, the unrequired hours. He knows what it takes. So I'm like a sponge to those guys, man. Those guys have put a lot of years in, and they got a lot of wisdom to give out.
Another coaching question here. With tackling, are there any differences from last year to this year with the Knowles defense and how you've seen him coach and seen him teach tackling?
Yes. The only difference is he just doesn't like live tackling in practice. He believes that you can still get better at tackling without actually going live with someone. Obviously to prevent injuries, which is fine. That's pretty much the only difference.
How interchangeable are you and Josh going to be?
I mean, we're taught to learn all the positions. We on a Saturday, you never know who's going to play. Injuries happen, things happen. So as a safety, you got to know all three of those positions. The only position probably except corner, but as far as the three positions, we're all taught to really learn all three.
Two more quick ones. First of all, how's Lathan doing?
Lathan's doing great. He's back healthy. I wish you guys could have seen his picture. We just got down in the weight room. He's back to looking like normal Lathan. He's moving like him. So I'm excited for him as well.
What stood out to you about the two Notre Dame quarterbacks in whatever film work you've done so far?
They do what they do well. They don't do a whole lot that's, going to confuse or anything like that, but they do what they do well. They listen to their coach, their offensive coordinator. He calls great plays, and they just play their strengths well.
The fact that either of them would be making their first college start, Buckner or Pine, how does that play into your benefit as an experienced group?
It really just depends on how well they're coached and how I guess they're gaining the experience by playing us, but I'm expecting a good quarterback. I respect the Notre Dame team. So.
What are the differences that you've seen so far, Buckner versus Pine? One more mobile than the other, you think?
Possibly. I don't have a rundown of their differences, though.
Have you watched much of them so far?
Yeah, but I haven't compared the two quarterbacks.
I know they had a different quarterback last year, and I know Jim Knowles wasn't coaching in the game. Did you guys watch the Oklahoma State versus Notre Dame film a lot since that was his defense still?
Yeah, I remember me and T-Mac, we just throw that game on just to watch it because, one, he can kind of just talk me through it, see what he was seeing and what was actually going on. And I ask him all the time, like, what was it like and stuff like that. So he's been huge on helping me with stuff like that.
Ronnie, you guys have the potential to have 6 safeties out there, rotating positions, whether that's Court and Cam and Lathan or you starting 3. How much of an advantage is that for you guys to know that those other 3 are just as good as the guys out there who started?
It's huge, and it's a long season. You never know who's going to end up playing week 13, week 11, week 10, or whatever. So just to know that you have that depth and that when you have the people that are coming in, but that those are dogs too. Those are great players who are going to keep the standard at what it is. So it's huge to have those guys behind you.
I've heard a few different people describe Cam as somebody who could really take that step this season. Have you seen that from Cam Martinez, and what are you really looking forward to seeing from him once training camp starts? Yeah, the sky's the limit for Cam. Cam knows this. I'm with him pretty much every day. But Cam is one of the most detailed guys I know when it comes to taking notes, watching film, how he corrects himself, how he watches himself. So Cam knows what he's going to do, and I'm excited for him, and the other guys know as well. What about Kai? Because Kai kind of took us all by surprise in the spring. Are you surprised by how quickly he picked things up and was able to make an impact? I wouldn't say, I guess you could say a surprise, but I just didn't know too much about him. But when spring game came, I quickly realized, he had a knack for just making a play or just being around the ball some way, somehow, whether that's making a tackle or a PBU or something like that. So I'm excited for Kai too.
Coach, just in general, Ryan Day said it, 11-2 with a Rose Bowl win is a great season for a lot of people, but not for you guys, especially losing to who you lost to. How much of a chip is there on your shoulder? How much not that you were complacent, but how much hunger has that given you for this year?
Yeah, I would say hunger is kind of an understatement. We know what happened last year. We know the mistakes we made. We know what we have to do to correct them. And we're eager to prove to everyone that we've been putting in the work, and we're prepared.
How much does the midstream game still haunt you?
I mean, that rivalry is the rivalry it's always been. So we're going to wake up feeling the same way regardless. We put in the work because we respect the rivalry and we respect that team. So the work's going to get put in regardless of what happened last year.
Hey, Ronnie, can you talk about some of the corners on your team? We saw Denzel start last year and Cam Brown coming back as starters, but we're hearing Jordan Hancock might be a guy on the rise maybe. Talk about some of the corners and who you think can really help you.
Yeah, two young guys, Jordan Hancock and JK. Those two guys, they bring the juice, they bring the energy. If for some reason, practice down, they'll quickly get us back up with a pick or a PBU or something like that, man. I just love those two because they're very competitive. They're very eager to just jump right up with Jackson, Marv, they don't care. And not only do they get up right there, but they compete as well. They make their own plays as well. So that just shows you that they're ready. Because if you can do it against those guys, you can do it against anyone in college football.
Yeah, you mentioned Marvin. We saw him in the Rose Bowl with the breakout performance. We're hearing he's having a great offseason. Is that what you're seeing out of Marvin too?
Yeah, so with Marvin, we're in the same squad, so we live together a lot. And whenever we do our sprints, I always run next to him because he always brings the fastest version of me. Because I'm not faster than him, but I know if I'm next to him, I'm like try to beat him. So I always make sure I'm running next to Marv just so he can bring the best out of me.
Coach, Ronnie, can you talk about some of these squads or the different groups? Coach Day was talking about how with the leadership, you guys are mixing it up. It's not just in your position group or that kind of thing. Can you just take us inside that a little bit and explain maybe what the benefits of that are?
Yeah, so we have a few squads on the team with a set of, I believe, 3 to 4 leaders on each squad. It just gives us a chance to the squads are all different. We pick the squads, but different positions, different. Everyone has to be different. So it allows us to become closer with someone who you might not have been closer with, because it's easy for guys to just be with the DBs. It's easy for receivers to be with the receivers and kind of just be in your position group. It allows us to reach out and expand our team chemistry and our brotherhood.
When your coach said it would take $13 million from NIL dollars to help keep the roster intact, how did that come across to you as a player, knowing that he put that call to action out there for the fans and the donors?
It's huge to know that your coach is behind you. Your coach is behind you and the trend that college football is going in. I think it's great that college athletes are being able to make money off their name and image after so long not being able to.
Do you know where that number came from? It wasn't 10, it wasn't 15. It was
I don't. No, I don't.
Following up with Doug's question on the leadership squads, how does it work? I mean, I know you may be with a quarterback or a wide receiver, whatever, but how does it work?
There's a few squads on the team, and you just work out with that squad, like that's your group. We obviously work out all together, but if something happens and if someone in your squad is late or something like that, then your squad gets specifically penalized and stuff like that. So it allows you to instill discipline and stuff like that in each squad and stuff like that.
How many are on the squad?
I believe we changed it in the winter. It was less. I want to say 12, 15 maybe. I don't know the exact number.
But honey, not for the sake of the squads, but for yourself as a leader. Is it easier to be just the leader of the safeties than it is to be the leader of guys that might play offense? And if it is, then does it put you out of your comfort zone, kind of help you become a better leader on your own?
If you picking and choosing who you want to be a leader to, then you can't really call yourself a leader, honestly. So if you want to put that title over your head and say you're a leader, you got to be a leader to everyone in that locker room.
How do you
feel like you've become that?
I try to lead in any way as possible. If guys come to me for anything, I'm there for them. I'm always down to help out people under me because that's what the people did to me when I was younger. So that's what I got to do. That's what I'm going to do.
Did you have to develop that, or did you always kind of feel like you were somebody who could become a leader?
I've always felt like I can, just growing up.
Does your squad have a cool name, don't you think?
Nah, we squad 4.
Or just squad 4?
Squad 4. We throw the 4s up.
For you
Squad 4. Shout out Squad 4.
For you personally, you came in here, you had an injury to start out. You've kind of gradually moved your way up the depth chart. Obviously, you've had some, coaching transitions along the way. Just kind of what's this journey been like for you to get to this point?
It's been a roller coaster. I've had a new position coach every year I think I've been in college, honestly. So it's been a roller coaster. There's been ups and downs, but I'm thankful for it all. Without God and without my family supporting me and the brotherhood, I wouldn't be where I am, and my parents as well. So, I'm just thankful that I'm here now, and I'm excited for the future.
Does it make you more grateful to be in a position like this where you're one of the guys being selected to represent the team at Big Ten Media Days?
For sure. There was times where I didn't know what my future would be like. I didn't know what I was I couldn't see myself in this position at times. So for me to be here and represent the great program that I attend, it's an honor.
What gave you that confidence that you would eventually get here even through those ups and downs?
Getting healthy. Getting healthy.
What does it say to coaches at the next level that you're able to adapt to all these different changes in position coaches that you've had through your time at Ohio State?
I'm a student of the game. I'm willing to learn, and learning isn't a problem for me. As far as retaining information and learning the playbook and stuff like that, that's second nature. I've been doing that for a long time. So I love the game, and I'm a student of it as well. Braxton Miller for sure.
What was it like in particular?
Well, I was sitting on the couch with my older brother when he did that spin move against Virginia Tech, and that stamped it after that. But,
do you think you could tackle Braxton?
Yes. I'm going to say yes.
Is there anything from Braxton's time at Ohio State that you look up to or you try to model after?
How hard-nosed the defense was. That defense that year was very tough, very physical. So just try to respect the people that before us who set the standard. If not set the standard, but move it higher.
And as an Ohio State fan growing up, what was it like playing your first game at Ohio Stadium?
Honestly, it was it happened all so fast, honestly. Like, once the game starts, you just get going. Like, you take it in for a little bit, but, like, you just focused on the game for real. But it was a blessing. It was an honor. The shoe was packed. It was amazing.
Jackson was saying earlier that this has been the closest he thinks his team has been this offseason. Are there things you all have done together? Or, you said people just call each other if they're grilling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. This offseason has brought us a lot closer. Guys are with each other outside the building. After COVID happened, it was people got used to getting in the facility and then going home. So it kind of took things for a turn when we got back to the facility. But I would say now guys are back with each other. The brotherhood is where it needs to be.
I think there was kind of a hangover from COVID, that just a funky year, and then you didn't just go back to normal, right? There were a lot of stuff you had to do last year. Just everybody.
Yeah, for sure. It was a learning curve.
Hey, Ronnie, just to talk about Notre Dame, placing them in that first game of the season. What do you know about the quarterback situation there right now? What have you studied about it, and how are you preparing for that quarterback situation on September 3rd?
We got to prepare for both. We got to prepare for whoever they put out there. We can't let whatever they do dictate how we play. That's one thing I'm big on, and one thing Coach Knowles is big on telling our defense. We'll get in the film and prepare for both, and prepare for what we need to prepare for, and that'll be it.
When you think about that first matchup, the magnitude of that game, what do you think about as far as the history of Notre Dame, that comes with Notre Dame, and then facing Freeman, who you're playing for his alma mater, and things of that nature? What's the conversations like?
You kind of grow up like dreaming of games like this. Playing in the shoe and you're on your team with your fans at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night against a great program. You dream of nights like this. To be able to go out there with my brothers and have fun and ball out, it'll be huge. My family will be watching, so it'll be a blessing.
Have you guys talked about the possibility of the outcome? What you're thinking of? Expectations?
We're going in there to winning game, and I'm sure they are too.
So obviously, going into the season, you have the goals of beating Michigan, winning titles. But what would constitute a successful season for the defense as a unit?
We want to be top 5 defense. That's one of our goals that we talk about every day going into meetings.
You led the team in tackles last year. How do you pass that mentality on to the other guys that are trying to shadow your game? And how long have you played like that, being the most aggressive guy in the field?
The stats and stuff kind of fall into place. You got to go out there and just play the game. Do your job, do your assignment, and the rest will follow.
And that other part of how long you've had that part of your game of always going to the football and being one of the first guys there to make a play.
How long?
Yeah, when did you develop that?
Probably since I was 5. I've been balling since I was 5, if you ask my mom. But, yeah, ever since I was young.
Ronnie, have you been privileged to be invited to C.J. Stroud's house for lunch, dinner, or whatever, for one of those big dinners?
No, I wish, man. I wish.
Seriously?
No, I wish.
How excited are you guys about this defense? The more you look at it, the more you learn about it and stuff. What just excites you about it?
The fact that I want to say free. Yeah, the fact that the freedom that the guys have as far as just knowing that you're an athlete. You know, you can go make a play. You know, you don't need to be thinking about 1,000 things at one time, and just slow the game down. You know, it's a lot simpler than people can make it out to be. So once the game gets slower, it allows the player to play faster.
How much interaction have you actually had with Coach Knowles? You know, obviously it's not your position coach, but he loves the safeties.
Yeah, he does. You know,
the
yeah.
linchpin to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a safety-driven defense for sure. But you know, we see him in meetings. We see him walking around the facility. You know, he says what's up to everyone. He's a great guy. So.
Yeah. Have you noticed, is there a little bit of a genius there involved with him, or is it just basically get
I can't put the genius cap on anybody yet. That's a big cap, so we'll see. But you know, Coach Knowles definitely knows what he's talking about. I think we all know that. So we're excited to see what this defense looks like in September.
We don't get to watch you guys work out a lot and stuff, but Coach Day said it looks like Josh Proctor's come along big time.
Oh yeah. He's healthy. Oh yeah, Lathan healthy.
What does that just do for y'all's group now?
It just adds nothing but depth. That guys who know what it's like, who's been in the fire last year and the year before, and they have the experience. They know what it's like to be out there when it's loud, when things aren't going well, and when things are going well. So it's nothing but adds goodness to us.
So with that goal of being a top 5 defense, how do you feel that going up against the practice, either end or quarterback, top percentage prepares you for that?
I love it. You got no choice but to get better. You know he's going to give you his best, and he expects our best as well. So going at it with CJ and the offense every day, it only prepares us more for September.
Talking about, actually about the quarterbacks already, but just about the skill positions and guys like the tight end, Michael Mayer, and the running back group over in Notre Dame, as well as the receiver corps. Once those guys get into your territory, man, what are you kind of expecting in this game from those skilled players, and what have you studied from them this offseason?
Yeah, they have a great tight end. You know, he had a great year last year. We're expecting them to get him the ball. You know, offense used their weapon, and he's one of their main weapons. So we're expecting that as well. But they definitely have other great offensive weapons. We're excited to see the other running backs this year after the last running back going to the draft. So we're excited for the offense. You know, we'll be prepared for them.
Were you recruited by USC or UCLA?
I was not.
If they were in the Big Ten at the time and they recruited you, would that have made it attractive at all?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
But guys from Midwest and back east now, do you think they'll look at that and consider going there?
I honestly don't know. I mean, that's up to them for real. I really don't know.
Ronnie, on that same subject, if you could pick any team to join the Big Ten next, which one would you like to see to join the conference next?
It doesn't really matter for me, honestly. Whichever, that's up to Gene and all those guys. You know, they pick that stuff, so I'll leave that to them.
Any place in particular you've always wanted to play or anything like that?
Any place? No, I mean, I played in the Rose Bowl in Cali, so no, not for real. As far as college thing, no.